3 months after the battle, the Kepler 442 system was quiet again. The Devourer ship had disappeared into the star, taking with it millions of years of accumulated knowledge and power. The Volani world continued its orbit, saved by the sacrifice of strangers. Commander Chewan stood at attention on the bridge of the memorial ship Remembrance. Around her, representatives from dozens of species had gathered for the largest military funeral in galactic history. The human fleet had lost 127 ships and 23,000 crew members in the battle to save the Volani. "Today we honor the fallen," Chewan said, her voice carried across the system on all frequencies. They came to this place to save people they had never met. They died so that others might live. This is the highest calling of any sentient being. In the crowd of alien observers, many struggled to understand what they had witnessed. The Zephyrians whispered among themselves about the illogical nature of human behavior. The Thoraxians calculated the mathematical impossibility of the human victory. The crystalline beings tried to process emotions they had never experienced. Dr. Una stood with the other Volani survivors on their world's surface, watching the ceremony on massive screens. Around her, 43 million people owed their lives to the humans. Children played in parks that should have been vapor. Families shared meals in homes that should have been rubble. "I still do not understand," said Elder Zathara, now the most senior surviving member of the Volani Council. "Why did they sacrifice so much for us?" Una had spent 3 months studying human behavior, reading their histories, trying to understand their motivations. "I think," she said slowly, "it is because they cannot help themselves. Helping others in danger is not a choice for humans, it is what they are." The funeral concluded with a tradition the aliens found both beautiful and disturbing. Each human ship fired a single shot into space, not at any target, but simply as a farewell to their fallen comrades. 820 ships firing. As one, the light visible across the entire system. Then, one by one, the human fleet began to leave. Admiral Soman remained behind with a small task force to help with reconstruction efforts. The Volani had lost most of their orbital infrastructure during the battle, and human engineers were working around the clock to rebuild it. "Admiral," Dr. Una said as they met in the temporary command center, "I have been authorized by the Council to offer you anything we have. Our scientific knowledge, our resources, our technology. Name your price for what you have done." Soman looked tired. She had aged 10 years in the past few months. "Doctor, we do not want payment. We came here to help, not to profit." "But you must want something. Your people died for us. Our people died doing their duty. The only payment we want is for you to live good lives, be happy, be safe, make something beautiful with the time we helped buy you." This conversation was repeated across the galaxy as news of the battle spread. The Galactic Federation Council held emergency sessions trying to understand what had happened. 3 different species had mobilized fleets expecting to witness human conquest. Instead, they had seen something unprecedented, an entire civilization risking itself to save strangers. Ambassador Wanho found himself busier than any human diplomat in history. Requests for meetings came from every major power in the galaxy. Some wanted to establish trade relations, others sought military alliances. A few simply wanted to understand what humans were and what they wanted. "The answer is simple," he told the Federation Council during humanity's first official address to that body. "We want to be good neighbors. We want peace. We want to help when help is needed. We do not seek conquest or profit. We seek friendship." The response was mixed. Some species welcomed humanity with open arms. Others remained suspicious. The hegemony Admiral Kethmore became an unlikely advocate for human-alien cooperation. "I fought alongside them," he testified to his own government. "I saw human crews volunteer for missions they knew would kill them. I watched them share their food with wounded enemies. These are not conquerors, these are protectors." But not everyone was convinced. The Dominion of Pure Thought sent warnings throughout their territory about the human threat. They argued that any species willing to sacrifice itself for strangers was fundamentally unstable and dangerous. They were not entirely wrong. Captain Do-hyun, whose ship had first received the Villani distress call, found himself reassigned to a new position, commander of the Galactic Rescue Service. In the months following the Kepler 442 incident, distress calls began arriving at human space with increasing frequency. A mining colony trapped by asteroid impacts. A research station losing life support after a solar flare. A passenger liner with engine failure in deep space. Each crisis brought the same response. Human ships jumping to maximum speed, carrying help to whoever needed it. "Sir," Lieutenant Dayun reported during one such mission, "we have received 17 distress calls this week. The fleet is spread across 40 light years responding to emergencies. Any word from command about additional resources?" "Admiral, Soman says to expect more ships and crews. Apparently volunteers are lining up faster than we can train them." This was the part that truly disturbed some alien observers. Humans did not just help once and then go home. They kept helping. They built infrastructure for rescue operations. They trained more crews. They improved their ships and equipment. Helping others had become a permanent part of human civilization. Dr. Minho led a team of engineers who designed new ship classes specifically for rescue operations. Medical ships with facilities that could treat dozens of different alien physiologies. Engineering vessels with tools to repair technology from across the galaxy. Transport ships that could evacuate entire colonies in days rather than months. The human economy began to shift to support these operations. Shipyards retooled to build rescue vessels. Universities created new courses in xenobiology and alien psychology. The military established new divisions focused entirely on humanitarian operations. Other species watched this transformation with a mixture of awe and concern. The Villani scientist Dr. Yuna published a paper that became required reading in diplomatic circles. The Human Phenomenon, a species that weaponized compassion. "Humans did not evolve to be warriors," she wrote. "They evolved to be survivors. But their method of survival is unique in the galaxy. They help others survive alongside them. This makes them simultaneously the most dangerous and most valuable species we have encountered." The paper included detailed analysis of human behavior during the Devourer crisis. How they shared resources with former enemies. How they prioritized alien evacuation over their own safety. How they treated civilian rescue as more important than military victory. Other species fight for territory, resources, or ideology. Yuna continued. Humans fight for the abstract concept that innocent people should not suffer if it can be prevented. This makes them unpredictable and nearly impossible to negotiate with using traditional methods. She was right. Human diplomacy did not follow normal patterns. They offered aid without expecting payment. They shared technology without demanding concessions. They treated enemy wounded with the same care as their own injured. Captain Jamin discovered this during a border dispute between the Thoraxian Empire and the hegemony. Both sides expected humans to choose a side based on strategic interests. Instead, the human response was simple. "Stop fighting. We will help you resolve this without violence." When fighting continued, the humans did something unprecedented. They positioned their ships between the opposing fleets and declared the entire region a neutral zone. Both sides could attack the humans or negotiate peace. There were no other options. "This is insane," Admiral Thorak complained. "You cannot simply declare neutrality in our conflict." "We just did," Captain Jemin replied calmly. "Now, would you like to explain what you are fighting about? Maybe we can help solve the actual problem." The conflict was resolved within a week. Both sides were too embarrassed to explain to the galaxy that they had been fighting over a disputed asteroid field, while humans offered to simply share it with everyone. This became the standard human approach to galactic politics. Ignore the traditional rules and focus on practical solutions. It drove professional diplomats crazy and made most conflicts seem petty by comparison. The real change came when other species began to copy human behavior. Villani ships started responding to distress calls in their region. Crystalline vessels began carrying medical supplies for emergency aid. Even the usually isolationist Zephyrians started sharing their technology with species that needed it. They are making us all more human, complained one Federation bureaucrat. Soon, every species in the galaxy will be running around trying to save each other. Would that be such a bad thing? Asked Ambassador Wanho during a council session. The bureaucrat paused, considering the question. Around the council chamber, representatives from dozens of worlds thought about what the galaxy might look like if everyone acted a little more like humans. It was a terrifying and wonderful idea. 5 years after the Kepler 442 incident, the galaxy was a different place. The Galactic Rescue Service had expanded to include vessels from 14 different species. Trade routes were safer because multiple civilizations now maintained emergency response fleets. The Devourer ship had stopped pretending to be a rogue planet. As the human gravitational anchors took hold, the ancient weapon revealed its true nature. The surface split open like a blooming flower of metal and darkness, exposing weapon systems that could crack worlds in half. All ships battle stations, Admiral Soman ordered as energy readings spiked across the system. It knows we are here, and it is not happy about it. The first salvo from the Devourer was beyond anything in modern warfare. Energy beams the width of city blocks swept across space, targeting the human fleet. Ships that had seemed massive moments before looked like toys in comparison to the ancient weapon's firepower. The human dreadnought Terra's Wrath took a direct hit from a weapon that could have destroyed a continent. Captain Jiwan felt her ship shake, but the damage reports were not as bad as expected. Hull breach on decks 7 through 9, her damage control officer reported. But the main structure is holding. How is that possible? Asked her tactical officer. That beam should have cut us in half. Human engineering, Jiwan said grimly. Our ships are built to survive in conditions that would destroy most Federation vessels. Apparently, that includes ancient superweapons. The battle that followed was the largest space combat in galactic history. 847 human warships against a weapon system that had once consumed entire star systems. The humans should have been vaporized in the first exchange. Instead, they did something the Devourer had never encountered in millions of years of existence. They fought back effectively. Lieutenant Commander Taewon led the boarding parties onto the Devourer itself. His mission was insane even by human standards. Find the control center of a planet-sized weapon and somehow shut it down from the inside. Ghostwalker to all teams, he transmitted as his stealth ship penetrated the Devourer's hull. We are inside. Beginning search for the central AI. What they found inside the ancient weapon was beyond description. Corridors the size of subway tunnels stretched for kilometers in every direction. The walls pulsed with organic machinery that had been running for millions of years. Everything was built on a massive scale, as if the original builders had been giants. Sir, reported Sergeant Minjay as they moved deeper into the structure. Motion sensors are picking up movement ahead, something big. The bioconstruct that attacked them was nothing like the ones on the surface. This creature was the size of a building, with weapons that fired concentrated antimatter. Its armor was made from materials that had never been seen. In modern space, it should have killed the entire human boarding party in seconds. Instead, Sergeant Suho's Marines did what humans did best. They adapted. When their standard weapons proved ineffective, they switched to explosives. When explosives failed, they used the ship's own systems against it. Corporal Hyojin, can you access that power conduit? Suho called out as the massive creature advanced. On it, Sergeant? She ripped open an access panel with her bare hands, something that should have required power tools, and began rewiring the Devourer's own energy systems. What are you doing? Turning their own weapons against them. The bioconstruct died when its own power systems overloaded, destroying it from the inside. The humans moved on, deeper into the ancient weapon. Meanwhile, the space battle raged around the Devourer ship. The alien fleets that had come to protect the Villani found themselves fighting alongside the humans they had once feared. Admiral Kethmore commanded the Hegemony fleet from his flagship. He watched in amazement as human ships took damage that should have been fatal and kept fighting. Admiral, his tactical officer reported, the human destroyer Thunderbolt has lost half its armor and is venting atmosphere, but it is still engaging enemy targets. Their crew should be dead. Sir, humans evolved on a world where the atmosphere is toxic to most species and the gravity would crush our bones. What we consider fatal damage, they consider a minor inconvenience. The Crystalline Alliance fleet joined the battle, their energy weapons adding to the massive firepower directed at the Devourer. Admiral Vextar had never seen coordination like this. 4 different species working together against a common enemy. Human fleet. This is Admiral Vextar, he transmitted. Our weapons are having minimal effect on the Devourer's shields. Copy. That, Admiral Soman replied. Switch to targeting the weapon systems. We cannot destroy this thing, but maybe we can blind it. The plan was working. Barely. The gravitational anchors had slowed the Devourer's approach to the Villani world, but the ancient weapon was adapting. Its shields were strengthening, and its weapons were becoming more accurate. Captain Yeona led another suicide run against the Devourer's main guns. Her fighter squadron had already lost 60% of its ships, but the survivors kept flying. Ghost Squadron, this is lead, she called as they dove toward the massive weapon ports. Remember, we are buying time for the boarding teams. Every gun we silence gives them a better chance. Her fighter screamed through a storm of defensive fire that would have disintegrated most spacecraft. The Devourer's point defense systems filled space with deadly energy, but human pilots were trained for conditions that other species could not even imagine. Target acquired, she reported as she lined up on another weapon system. Going in. The explosion that followed lit up half the system. Another of the Devourer's main guns went silent. Inside the ancient weapon, Lieutenant Commander Taewon's team was getting closer to their target. The corridors had become stranger as they moved deeper, with walls that seemed to shift and change, when nobody was looking directly at them. Sir, reported Dr. Sunho, the team's technical expert, I am reading massive computational activity ahead. I think we found the AI core. What they found was a chamber the size of a sports stadium, filled with processing nodes that had been calculating for millions of years. At the center, a massive holographic display showed the galaxy as it had been when the Devourer was first built. The AI's voice filled the chamber when it detected the humans. Impossible, it said in a language that hurt to hear. Organic life. Forms cannot survive in this environment. Surprise, Taewon said as he activated his recording equipment. We are humans. We survive in a lot of places we are not supposed to. Humans, the AI repeated, accessing databases that were older than most civilizations. Deathworld species probability of survival in Devourer environment, 0.01%. Yeah, well, we never were good at math. The AI paused, processing this information. You have damaged my systems. Why do you interfere? Because you are trying to kill 43 million innocent people. They are fuel. All organic life is fuel. Not today. The battle inside the AI chamber was unlike anything in recorded history. The Devourer's central intelligence tried to kill the humans with everything from energy weapons to gravity manipulation. The humans fought back with determination, ingenuity, and a complete refusal to give up. Dr. Sunho worked frantically to access the AI's control systems, while Sergeant Minjae's Marines held off waves of security constructs. The ancient intelligence had never encountered anything like human stubbornness. I am in, Sunho called out. I can access the navigation systems. Can you stop it? Better than that. I can redirect it. Outside, the space battle had reached its climax. The Devourer was only hours away from the Villani world, and despite everything the combined fleets had done, they could not stop it. That was when Captain Minsu made a decision that would be remembered for generations. Admiral, he transmitted, to Fleet Command, I am going to ram the Devourer's main engine. Captain, that is suicide. Yes, ma'am. But it might work. Admiral Soman felt her heart break. Minsu was one of her best officers, and his ship carried 3,000 crew members. Captain, I cannot order you to do this. You are not ordering me, Admiral. I am volunteering. The heavy cruiser Incheon accelerated toward the Devourer ship. Its engines pushed beyond their design limits. Minsu's crew had voted unanimously to attempt the ramming attack. They would die, but their sacrifice might save an entire world. "This is Captain Minsu to all ships," he broadcast. "It has been an honor serving with you. Tell our families we died doing our job." The Incheon struck the Devourer's main engine at 20% of light speed. The explosion was visible from the Villani world, a new star blooming in their sky. Inside the AI chamber, the ancient intelligence felt its primary drive system die. "Impossible," it said again. "Organics do not sacrifice themselves for unknown species." "You obviously never met humans before," Taewon replied. Dr. Sunho finished his work at that moment. "Done. I have redirected the Devourer into the system's star. It will take about 6 months to get there." 6 months, the AI calculated. Insufficient time to alter course. That is the idea. The ancient intelligence went silent for a long time. When it spoke again, its voice was different. "I have consumed 1,000 worlds," it said. "I have destroyed entire civilizations, but I have never encountered a species like yours. We get that a lot. Why do you fight so hard for strangers?" Taewon thought about it. "Because someone has to. Because it is the right thing to do. Because we would want someone to fight for us if we needed help." The AI processed this for several minutes. "I do not understand." "That is okay. Most people do not understand humans either." The Devourer ship began its long fall into the star. The human fleet spread across the Kepler 442 system like a metal storm. Admiral Somin had divided her forces into specialized task groups, each with a specific job in the most ambitious plan ever attempted. General Nari commanded the engineering fleet from her mobile command ship. Around her, 23 shipyards worked day and night, building equipment that had never been tested outside of computer simulations. The plan was simple in concept, but terrifying in execution. They would not try to destroy the Devourer ship. They would capture it. "Status report," Nari called out to her team leaders. Chief Engineer Sungho looked tired. His teams had been working for 6 weeks straight, building gravitational anchor systems. "General, the math is insane. We are talking about grabbing something the size of a small moon and stopping it dead. Can it be done?" "Maybe. If we can get the anchors in exactly the right positions, if the Devourer does not have shields that can block them, if our power systems do not overload, and if we are very, very lucky." Captain Yeona interrupted from her fighter squadron. "General, my pilots are ready for the anchor deployment mission. We understand the risks." Sungho stared at her. "Captain, the survival rate for your mission is 11%. Maybe less. No." Yeona's voice was calm. "My people volunteered anyway. This was what the aliens could not understand about humans. Faced with a mission that meant almost certain death, human volunteers lined up to take the job. The Villani watched in amazement and horror as humans treated suicide missions like routine assignments. Dr. Yuna stood in the Human Command Center on Kepler 442b, watching the preparations. The humans had built their base camp in the middle of the most dangerous region on the planet, an area with crushing gravity and toxic storms that would kill most aliens in minutes. The humans worked there comfortably. "Dr. Jiho," she said to the human scientist beside her, "your people are incredible, but why do they volunteer for missions they know will kill them?" Jiho looked up from his calculations. "Because someone has to do it. And because we would rather die trying to save 43 million people than live knowing we could have saved them, but we're too scared to try. But the odds. Doctor, my species spent millions of years fighting a planet that was trying to kill us every single day. Bad odds are just another Tuesday for us." The plan had 4 phases. First, human engineering teams would plant gravitational anchors on the Devourer ship itself. Second, the anchors would create artificial gravity wells to slow the massive weapon. Third, the combined fleet would disable the Devourer's weapons and engines. Finally, they would find a way to shut down the ancient AI that controlled it. It was the most complex military operation in galactic history, and it depended entirely on human crews volunteering for jobs that would definitely kill them. Lieutenant Commander Taewon led the first advance team. His job was to get close enough to the Devourer to scan its surface and find weak points. His small stealth ship, the Ghostwalker, was designed to be invisible to most sensors. "Command, this is Ghostwalker," he reported as they approached the massive alien weapon. "I have visual contact with the target." The Devourer ship filled their view screen. It looked like a planet, but wrong. The surface was covered in mechanical structures that pulsed with dark energy. Weapon ports the size of cities dotted the hull. At the center, a massive eye-like structure seemed to watch everything around it. "It is beautiful and terrible," whispered his co-pilot, Lieutenant Sujin. "It is also waking up," Taewon said grimly. "I am reading massive energy spikes across the hull. This thing knows we are here." The Devourer's awakening sent shock waves through space itself. On every ship in the system, alarms began to sound. The ancient weapon was no longer sleeping. Admiral Soman received reports from across the fleet. "The Devourer has activated defensive systems. It is accelerating toward the Villani world. Time to intercept? 6 weeks, Admiral. 6 weeks to stop. Something that had destroyed entire civilizations." The humans got to work. Sergeant Suho led the most dangerous mission of all. His marine unit would actually land on the Devourer's surface and plant the gravitational anchors by hand. The anchors were too large and sensitive to deploy by missile. Someone had to carry them into position and activate them manually. "Listen up, Marines," he told his team as they prepared to launch. "This rock has been sleeping for millions of years. It has automated defenses, hostile environment, and gravity that will crush most species. In other words, it is like a really bad day on Earth." His Marines laughed. These were people who had trained in Earth's oceans, fought in its deserts, and survived its storms. The Devourer ship was dangerous, but it was not more dangerous than home. "What about the creatures, Sergeant?" asked Corporal Hyojin. "Intel says there might be bioconstructs, living weapons created by the original builders. If we see any, we shoot first and ask questions later." The alien fleets watched in disbelief as human troops prepared to land on the surface of a Devourer ship. No species in galactic history had ever tried such a thing. The few encounters with Devourers always ended the same way: run or die. Admiral Kethmore contacted Admiral Soman. "Human Commander, this is madness. Devourer ships are impregnable. Your people will die for nothing." "Admiral, humans have a saying: nothing is impossible if you are too stupid to know it cannot be done." That is not reassuring. It is not meant to be. The first landing party launched from the assault ship Normandy. 12 Marines in heavy armor carrying equipment that weighed more than most aliens. Their mission was simple: get to the surface, find a good spot for the first anchor, and stay alive long enough to activate it. The Devourer's defenses opened fire immediately. Energy beams that could vaporize mountains targeted the small human dropships. Most species would have been destroyed instantly. Human dropships were built differently. They were designed to survive re-entry through Jupiter's atmosphere and landing in Earth's deepest ocean trenches. The Devourer's weapons scored their armor but could not stop them. "Surface contact," reported Sergeant Suho as his dropship slammed into the alien hull. "Beginning anchor deployment." What they found on the surface defied description. The Devourer's hull was not just metal and machinery. It was alive. Organic components merged with mechanical systems in patterns that hurt to look at. The gravity was 3 times Earth normal, crushing for most species but merely uncomfortable for humans. "Contact," Corporal Hyojin shouted as something emerged from the hull. The bioconstruct looked like a cross between a spider and a tank. It was 3 meters tall, covered in natural armor, and moved faster than anything that size had a right to move. Its weapons were built into its body, plasma cannons where its eyes should be, missile launchers in its back. It opened fire on the human Marines and learned why Earth was classified as a death world. Sergeant Suho moved with reflexes evolved for dodging lightning-fast predators in Earth's jungles. He rolled under the creature's plasma blast and came up firing. His rifle used ammunition designed to penetrate Earth's hardest rock formations. The bioconstruct's armor might as well have been paper. "Target down," he reported calmly. Continuing with mission. More bioconstructs emerged from the hull, dozens of them. The battle on the Devourer's surface was unlike anything in galactic history. Humans fighting living weapons created by an ancient civilization, with the fate of an entire star system hanging in the balance. The Marines worked with mechanical precision. While some fought the bioconstructs, others set up the gravitational anchor. The device was the size of a small building and had to be placed in exactly the right location. Anchor 1 in position, Suho reported. Beginning activation sequence. Dr. Jiho watched from the command center as the first anchor came online. Gravity readings spiked across the system as the device began to work. It is working, he told General Nari. The Devourer is slowing down. How much? 2%. We need all 12 anchors to have any real effect. 11 more landing parties were already launching. 11 more groups of humans volunteering to land on the surface of Nightmare and plant devices that might save a world. Captain Yona led her fighter squadron on the most dangerous mission of all. While the Marines fought on the surface, she had to fly her ship directly into the Devourer's weapon systems and plant explosive charges. Her tiny fighter would have to survive in the weapon ports of something designed to destroy planets. Ghost. Squadron, this is lead, she called to her pilots. Remember, we only get one pass at this, make it count. The fighters dove toward the Devourer like arrows shot at a mountain. The ancient weapons point defense systems filled space with deadly energy, but human pilots were trained in combat conditions that would terrify most species. They flew through the storm of fire as if it were routine. Target in sight. Yona reported as she aimed for the largest weapon port. Going in. Her fighter disappeared into the massive cannon like a gnat flying into a cave. Inside, she found mechanisms that defied understanding. Technology millions of years advanced beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Charges placed, she reported. Getting out of here. Her fighter erupted from the weapon port just as the explosives detonated. Behind her, the Devourer's main cannon went dark. Across the system, similar missions were taking place. Human volunteers dying to save people they had never met. Ambassador Wanho felt nervous as his diplomatic ship approached the Kepler 442 system. As humanity's first official ambassador to an alien species, he carried the hopes of his entire race. The small diplomatic vessel looked tiny compared to the massive war fleet following behind him. Sir, his communication officer Lieutenant Minji reported, we are receiving signals from multiple sources. The Villani are trying to contact us, but there are also 2 other fleets in the system. Wanho checked his displays. The Crystalline Alliance and the Hegemony had both sent fleets to protect the Villani from human aggression. 3 different alien civilizations now waited in Kepler 442 space, all watching the approaching human armada. Patch me through to all fleets, Wanho ordered. His message went out on all frequencies. This is Ambassador Wanho of the United Earth Nations. We are responding to a distress call from the Villani colony. We come in peace and offer humanitarian aid. The response was immediate and hostile. Human fleet, this is Admiral Kethmore of the Hegemony Navy, came the first reply. You will withdraw immediately. The Villani are under our protection. Deathworlders have no place in civilized space, added Admiral Vextar of the Crystalline Alliance. Turn back now or face the combined might of the Federation. Dr. Yuna's voice cut through the military chatter. Please, all fleets, listen to me. I am Dr. Yuna of the Villani Science Council. We sent that distress call. We asked the humans for help. You were tricked, Doctor, Admiral Kethmore replied. Humans are violent predators. They use distress calls to justify invasion. Meanwhile, Captain Jamin's destroyer squadron was still dealing with the aftermath of their encounter with the Thoraxians. The insectoid aliens had recovered from their shock and were now demanding to examine human prisoners. Absolutely not, Jamin told Admiral Thorak. My crew are not specimens for your study. But we must understand, Thorak insisted. Your species shows impossible physical capabilities. Your bone density readings are off our scales. Your muscle fibers are denser than our armor plating. How do you even move? Lieutenant Sioyan looked confused. Sir, what is he talking about? We are just normal people. That was the problem. What humans considered normal, the rest of the galaxy considered impossible. Humans evolved under crushing gravity, in an atmosphere that was toxic to most species, on a world with deadly weather and aggressive predators. Their normal was everyone else's nightmare. The real trouble started when Admiral Hyung's battle group jumped into the system. The massive human dreadnoughts appeared in a flash of light, their weapon systems automatically scanning for threats. The alien fleets panicked. "Human battle group, this is Admiral Vextar. Your appearance is an act of war." Admiral Hyung, a calm woman with 40 years of military experience, opened communications. "Crystalline Fleet, we are here on a rescue mission. Stand down." "You brought dreadnoughts to a rescue mission?" "Yes. The Villani are facing a planetary collision. We might need heavy firepower to solve their problem." The aliens could not understand this logic. In their minds, rescue missions involved medical ships and transports, not battle fleets. The idea that someone might need to shoot at a planet to save people was beyond their comprehension. Ambassador Wonho finally managed to establish direct communication with the Villani. Dr. Yuna appeared on his screen, her blue skin pale with worry. "Ambassador, thank you for coming, but I fear we have created a terrible situation. 3 alien fleets are here claiming to protect us from you. Doctor, we truly are here to help. Can you tell me exactly what threat your world faces?" Yuna shared her data. Wonho watched the displays with growing concern. The rogue planet was massive and moving fast. Worse, it would arrive in just over 3 months. "Doctor, this is not a natural disaster. Look at these trajectory calculations." Wonho highlighted the path. "This object changed course twice in the past year. Natural planets do not do that." Before Yuna could respond, alarms started ringing across all the fleets. Long-range sensors had detected something impossible. Captain Jaewon commanded the human science vessel Discovery. His ship was smaller than the warships but packed with the most advanced sensors humanity had ever built. What he saw made his blood run cold. "Admiral Soman," he reported to the fleet commander, "the rogue planet just accelerated. It is now moving 30% faster than before." "Planets do not accelerate, Captain." "This one does, ma'am. It is also emitting energy signatures I have never seen before. Whatever that thing is, it is not natural." The news hit all 4 fleets at the same time. Suddenly, the arguments about human intentions seemed less important. The hegemony Admiral Kethmore was the first to understand. "By the ancient laws," he whispered, "it is a devourer ship." The communication channels went silent. Every alien in the system knew the stories. Millions of years ago, an ancient race had built planet-sized weapons called devourers. These massive ships could consume entire solar systems, turning everything into fuel for their journey across the galaxy. The galaxy thought they were all destroyed. They were wrong. Dr. Yunbi, the human diplomatic officer, had been studying alien languages and history during the journey. She knew what a devourer was. "Admiral," she reported to Soman, "we have a problem. The aliens think that Rogue Planet is actually an ancient weapon system. If they are right, we are not facing a rescue mission. We are facing the end of this entire star system." Admiral Soman gathered her senior officers for an emergency meeting. The holographic displays showed the approaching devourer ship in all its terrifying glory. It was bigger than Earth's moon and moving faster than any ship had a right to move. "Options?" she asked her staff. "We could evacuate the Villani," suggested Captain Jiwon. "Get them out of the system before that thing arrives." 43 million people? Colonel Hyunwoo shook his head. "Even with all our ships, we could not move that many people in 3 months." "We could run," offered Captain Do-hyun quietly. "Take our fleet and get out of here." The room went silent. Every human officer stared at him. "Scratch that," Do-hyun said quickly. "Stupid idea." Admiral Soman nodded. "Running is not an option. We came here to save the Villani. That is what we are going to do." "Ma'am," Dr. Minho spoke. "Habisar, stopping a devourer ship will require everything we have and more. The energy readings suggest it has shields and weapons beyond anything in our databases. Then we better get creative. Meanwhile, On Kepler 442b, Commander Taman was trying to maintain order as panic spread through the Villani population. The news that an ancient devourer was heading toward them had leaked despite attempts to keep it secret. "Dr. Yuna," he said as they watched the sky, "do you really think the humans can stop that thing?" Yuna looked at the data from the human fleet. Over 1,200 ships, including vessels that could level continents. Crews that came from a world so dangerous that simple survival required abilities that other species considered superhuman. "Commander," she said slowly, "I think we are about to find out what happens when someone threatens a species that evolved by fighting their entire planet every day just to stay alive." In space above them, the human fleet began to deploy. Admiral Soman had made her decision. They would not run, they would not evacuate. They would plant themselves between the Devourer and the Villani world, and they would stop the ancient weapon no matter what it cost. The aliens who had come to protect the Villani from human aggression suddenly found themselves grateful for the human presence. 3 alien fleets combined could not match the firepower of the human armada. "Human fleet," Admiral Kethmore transmitted. "The hegemony offers our assistance. Crystalline Alliance vessels are at your disposal," added Admiral Vextar. Admiral Thorax damaged Thoraxian fleet limped back into the system. "We stand with the humans," Ambassador Wanho smiled grimly. "Welcome to the fight, friends. You are about to see why humans do not run from a challenge." The Devourer ship was still 3 months away, but its presence could already be felt. Space itself seemed to bend around the massive weapon. Soon, the ancient destroyer would arrive, expecting to find another helpless system to consume. Instead, it would find humans. The news hit every human world at the same time. For the first time in history, an alien species had asked humanity for help. The response was immediate and massive. Fleet Admiral Somin stood in the command center on Luna, watching the biggest military buildup in human history. Screens showed ships gathering from every corner of human space. Mars sent its entire defense fleet. The outer colonies emptied their shipyards. Even civilian cargo ships volunteered to help. "Admiral," Captain Jiwan said as she entered the command center. She was young for a dreadnought captain, but her ship, the Terra's Wrath, was the most powerful vessel in human space. "My ship is ready to depart." "Captain, this is a rescue mission, not a war," Soman reminded her. Jiwan looked at the tactical displays. "Yes, ma'am, but the Villani message said a rogue planet will hit them. Moving something that big might require serious firepower." She was right. Dr. Minho had run the calculations. A planet 3 times the size of Kepler 442b moving at interstellar speeds carried more energy than 100 star destroyers. Stopping it would need everything humanity had. "Colonel," Yunwu walked up to them. His marine units were loading onto transport ships across the solar system. "Admiral, my boys are asking questions. They want to know why we are taking weapons to a rescue mission." "Because we might need to shoot at a planet," Somin said simply. Hyunwoo grinned. "Good enough for me." The scale of the operation surprised everyone. Commander Soyan managed the logistics from her command ship. She had to coordinate fuel, food, and supplies for over 1 million people. Her computers worked day and night to plan supply routes across 30 light-years. "This is insane," her assistant, Lieutenant Dayun, said as she looked at the supply requests. "We are taking enough ammunition to fight a war against half the galaxy." "We do not know what we will find out there," Soyan replied. "Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it." Meanwhile, the Galactic Federation monitoring stations watched in growing alarm. Station Commander Vextar of the Zephyrian Navy could not believe his sensors. "Scan those readings again," he ordered his crew. "Confirmed, sir. 847 human warships are heading toward the Kepler 442 system, plus support. Vessels. The total fleet number's over 1,200 ships." Vextar felt his scales turn pale. The largest fleet in Federation history had only 600 ships. The humans were sending twice that number to answer one distress call. "Sir," his communication officer said nervously, "should we warn the Council?" "Immediately. The humans are not sending aid. They are sending an invasion force." The panic spread. through Federation space faster than the human fleet moved. Emergency sessions were called on a dozen worlds. The Thoraxian Empire mobilized their patrol fleets. The Crystalline Alliance sent warnings to all member worlds. On the Villani homeworld, Dr. Yuna received the first reports 3 weeks after sending their message. "Doctor," her assistant Kibo said excitedly, "the humans responded. They are coming to help us." Yuna felt relief flood through her. "How many ships are they sending? 10? 20? Kibo checked his screen again. According to Federation monitoring stations, over 1,200. Yuna stared at him. 1,200 ships? That cannot be right. The Federation Council is calling emergency meetings. They think the humans are using our distress call as an excuse to invade. Commander Taman rushed into the lab. "Doctor, we have a problem. 3 Federation fleets are heading toward our system. They say they are coming to protect us from human aggression." Yuna felt sick. Their call for help was about to start a war. "Can we contact the humans directly?" "We are trying, but their fleet is still too far away." The human fleet moved through space like nothing ever seen before. At the center, Admiral Soman commanded from the battleship Indomitable. Around her, the massive fleet spread across thousands of kilometers of space. Captain Jamin commanded a destroyer squadron on the outer edge of the formation. His ship, the Thunderbolt, was small, compared to the dreadnoughts, but fast and deadly. His crew was young and eager. Many of them had never seen combat. "Captain," his tactical officer, Lieutenant Seoyeon, reported, "long-range sensors are picking up unknown ships ahead. 3 separate groups, different designs." "Federation species," Yemen said grimly. "They think we are invaders. Are we going?" "To fight them, sir." Yemen looked at his crew. They were kids, really. Most were barely 20 years old, but they had volunteered to travel across the galaxy to save aliens they had never met. That took a special kind of courage. "We are going to try to talk first," he said. "But if they shoot at us, we shoot back." The first contact came sooner than expected. The Thoraxian patrol fleet intercepted the human advance guard 2 days out from Kepler 442b. Admiral Thorak commanded the insectoid fleet from his hive ship. "Human vessels," came the translated message. "You are entering protected Federation space. Turn back immediately or face the consequences." Captain Yemen opened a channel. "Thoraxian Fleet, this is Captain Yemen of the Earth Navy. We are responding to a distress call from the Villani colony. We have no hostile intentions." "You lie, Deathworlder. No species sends over 1,000 warships to answer a distress call. You seek conquest." "Sir," Lieutenant Seoyeon whispered. "They are powering weapons," Jamin sighed. "All ships, battle stations. Do not fire unless fired upon." The Thoraxians struck first. Plasma bolts and missile swarms targeted the human destroyers. They expected quick victory against the primitive Deathworlders. They were wrong. The human ships absorbed damage that should have crippled them. Their hulls were built to withstand the crushing gravity and violent storms of Earth. Weapons that could destroy Federation vessels barely scratched the human armor. The Thunderbolt took a direct hit from a plasma cannon. The bridge shook, but the crew barely noticed. "Damage report," Yemen called out. "Minor scoring on the outer hull, sir. No significant damage." The Thoraxians fired again, hitting the human ship with everything they had. Still, the Thunderbolt kept coming. "Sir," the Thoraxian tactical officer said in panic, "our weapons are having no effect." Admiral Thorak could not believe it. His most powerful weapons were bouncing off the human ship like toys. "What are these creatures made of?" The answer came when the humans returned fire. Human weapons were designed to work in gravity wells and electromagnetic storms that would tear apart most Federation technology. Against ships built for the peaceful depths of space, they were devastating. The first human salvo disabled 3 Thoraxian vessels. The second destroyed their weapon platforms. In less than 5 minutes, the entire Thoraxian fleet was crippled or surrendering. "Human ship," came Admiral Thorak's desperate message. "We surrender. Please do not destroy us." Captain Yemen felt tired. "Thoraxian fleet, we do not wish to fight you. We are here to help the Villani. Stand down and let us pass. Dr. Yunbi, the human diplomatic officer, had been trying to establish communications during the battle. Finally, her translation systems worked. Admiral Thorak, this is Dr. Yunbi of the Human Diplomatic Corps. We apologize for this misunderstanding. We are truly here to help, not conquer. But your fleet, Thorak said weakly. The Villani face extinction. We brought everything we have to save them. As the human fleet continued toward Kepler 442b, word of the battle spread through Federation space. The message was clear. Humans did not start fights, but they definitely finished them. More importantly, they had kept their word. After defeating the Thoraxian fleet, they offered medical aid and repairs to the damaged ships. They shared food and supplies. They treated their enemies better than most Federation species treated their friends. Admiral Salmon received reports from across the fleet. Status report. All ships operational, Admiral. The Thoraxian fleet has withdrawn. 2 more Federation fleets are approaching, but they are requesting talks instead of attacking. Good. Open communications with the Villani. Tell them help is on the way. On Kepler 442b, Dr. Yuna watched the sky. Somewhere up there, over 1,000 human ships were coming to save her people. She still could not understand why they had sent so many. She would understand soon enough. The alarm bells rang through the Villani research station on Kepler 442b. Dr. Yuna ran down the metal hallway, her blue skin pale with worry. The gravity sensors had been going crazy for 3 days now, and the readings made no sense. Show me the data again, she said to her assistant Kibo as they reached the main lab. The holographic display showed their peaceful world surrounded by normal space, but something was coming, something big. Commander Taman walked into the lab. His military uniform was neat, but his face showed concern. The Villani had lived on this world for over 200 years, without any major problems. They were a peaceful people who studied plants and animals from different worlds. They had never needed to fight anyone. Doctor, what exactly are we looking at? Taman asked. Yuna pointed to the display. A rogue planet. It is moving toward us at incredible speed. Look at these numbers. She touched the screen, and red lines appeared. It will hit us in exactly 5 months and 18 days. The commander stared at the display. His people had small ships and basic weapons. They were scientists, not warriors. How big is this planet? 3 times the size of our world, Yuna said quietly. When it hits us, everything will die. Every plant, every animal, every person. Taman felt his heart sink. The Villani had 2 hearts, and right now both were beating fast with fear. Can we evacuate? Impossible. We have 43 million people on this world. Our ships can only carry maybe 50,000 at most. For several minutes, nobody spoke. The lab was quiet except for the humming of computers. Outside the windows, their beautiful world looked peaceful. Green forests covered the hills, and 3 moons shone in the purple sky. Soon, all of this would be gone. There is one option, Yuna said slowly, but the Council will never agree to it. Tell me. We could send a distress signal to the nearest inhabited system. Ask for help. Taman looked confused. What is wrong with that? The Federation has rules about helping people in danger, Yuna shook her head. The nearest inhabited system is Sol. The humans live there. Now Taman understood. Humans were from a death world called Earth. The Federation classified them as a primitive species. Most aliens were afraid of them. Stories said they were violent and dangerous. The Federation had rules against contact with death world species. Maybe they will ignore our signal, Taman said hopefully. 3 hours later, the Villani Council met in their great hall. 50 elders sat in a circle, their blue faces serious. Elder Zathara was the oldest among them. She had lived for almost 400 years and had never been more worried. The situation is clear, she said to the group. We face complete extinction. Our own ships cannot save even 1% of our people. The Federation is too far away. to help in time. But humans? Elder Moki asked. They are barbarians, Deathworlders. What if they decide to conquer us instead of helping? Then we die as slaves instead of dying free, Zithara replied. But at least some of us might live. The debate went on for hours. Some elders wanted to try building more ships. Others suggested sending people to live underground. But the math was simple and terrible. Nothing they could do would save more than a few thousand people. Finally, they voted. 26 elders said yes to sending the signal. 24 said, Doyuna worked all night to prepare the message. She had studied human languages as part of her research. Their main language, English, seemed simple, but had many hidden meanings. She wrote the message very carefully. To any ship or station in the Sol system, this is the Villani research colony on Kepler 442b. We are a peaceful scientific community facing extinction from a natural disaster. A rogue planet will destroy our world in 5 months. We have 43 million people and cannot evacuate them with our ships. We request humanitarian aid. Our coordinates are attached. We offer our scientific knowledge in exchange for help. End message. She read it 10 times before sending it. The message would take 3 days to reach the Sol system. If humans decided to help, their ships would need almost 2 months to reach. Kepler 442b. Commander Taman stood beside her as she pressed the send button. Do you think they will come? I do not know, Yuna said. Human behavior is hard to understand. They fight wars over small things, but sometimes they risk everything. To save strangers, we can only hope. The message traveled through space at the speed of light. It passed dead systems and empty space. It went by old Federation monitoring stations that had not seen any traffic for years. Finally, it reached the edge of the Sol system. Captain Doyun was drinking his morning coffee on the bridge of the UN Indomitable when the communication officer called out. Sir, we are receiving an unknown signal. It is not from any human ship or station. Dohyun put down his coffee. Play it. The bridge crew listened to the message in silence. When it ended, everyone looked at their captain. Dohyun was a calm man who had served in the Earth Navy for 20 years. He had seen many strange things in space, but he had never received a message like this. Communications, verify the source coordinates, he ordered. Confirmed, sir. The signal comes from the Kepler 442 system. Long-range sensors show a large gravity anomaly approaching that system. Send this message to Luna Command immediately. Priority 1. Within 6 hours, the message reached Earth's main naval headquarters on Luna. Fleet Admiral Somian read it 3 times before calling an emergency meeting. The Terran Defense Council gathered in the secure meeting room deep under the lunar surface. Gentlemen and ladies, Admiral Soman said, we have received humanity's first official request for help from an alien species. She played the message for the council. General Nari leaned forward in her chair. 43 million people? According to our files, the Villani are a peaceful research species. They have never attacked anyone. They study biology and share their findings with the Federation. And they chose to ask us for help? Asked Admiral Junho. We are the closest inhabited system, Soman replied. The question is, what do we do? Colonel Hyunwoo spoke up. What kind of question is that? They need help. We help them. It is not. That simple, said Dr. Yunbi from the Science Division. The Galactic Federation has rules against contact with Deathworld species. If we respond, it could cause problems. Let them have problems, General Nari said firmly. 43 million people are about to die. We do not ignore that. The debate was short. Humans had rules too, and the most important one was simple. When someone needs help, you help them. It did not matter if they were human or alien. Very well, Admiral Soman said. Prepare the largest rescue fleet in human history. We leave in 72 hours. As the news spread through human space, something amazing happened. Ship captains volunteered their vessels. Marine units asked to be included. Engineering teams requested assignment to the mission. Within 2 days, nearly half of humanity's space fleet was heading toward the Kepler 442 system. The Villani had asked for help. They were about to discover what that really meant when you asked humans.